The 1964 NHL entry draft was a bummer. There was only really one player that did a lot with his career. You can't really count Tim Ecclestone because he never really amounted to anything besides being a fourth liner. And of course, I'm not going to brag up Mike Pellick because I don't want don't want to be cursed. Although I must say, Sil Apps put up some really impressive numbers. Only Ken Dryden was the number one. Now Toronto did have some players again that draft that made the NHL, but this guy they totally missed the mark with. Now Tom Martin, not what you call a household name, but Tom Martin's been a household name for me for quite some time. He was drafted, ladies and gentlemen, through the OHA Toronto Marlboros midget program. If I'm not mistaken, my dad told me about that. The Marlies had a strong midget team as well, and his last season with them allowed him to be drafted as an underage player. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had just almost turned he hadn't turned 17 yet. But he did graduate Toronto Marlies junior program, where he put up some okay numbers. The last season with the Marlies, he had 85 points in the 54 games, which allowed him to get a one-game call-up with the Maple Leafs, where he scored his first NHL goal. Now, he also played with Tulsa in the playoffs that year, but was sent back to the OHA Senior League for seasoning, and also played with Tulsa Oilers for a little while in the CHL. Now, still with Tulsa in 1970, he had 21 goals in 65 games, but the next two campaigns found himself with Fort Worth of the CHL and Tidewater of the AHL. 72 in combined games with Tidewater and Fort Worth. He broke the 30-goal mark. So we're thinking with the WHA coming in, he's going to get a chance. And sure enough, he really established himself as a good major pro with 19 goals in 74 contests in 73. And he had a career with Toronto, a very, very high-scoring squad in 74 with 57 points, including 25 goals and 10 points in the playoffs. 15 games with Toronto in 75 before jumping to Europe with Modo AIK, where he had 16 points in 36 contests. Now, WHA totals, 135 points in 212 games, and again, that one goal in that three games with the Maple Leafs, 21 points in 22 WHA playoff contests. But kind of a bummer, too, a high prospect in the Toronto system, the Marley system, for I think, if I'm not mistaken, 5 consecutive years, and it never panned out. I don't know why they gave up on him, but Toronto was going through a lot of players at the time, and executives and coaches for Toronto were their sons were getting tryouts. People like Guy Trottier were coming in. Darryl Sittler was coming in. Brian Spencer, there wasn't much room. He had about 15 prospects, and he only kept 7. And unfortunately, Martin was kind of the odd man out. But you look at that 68 team, right? There was a lot of old players that were coming in. But they were trying everybody that year. I'm just going to go over this very quickly. Dwayne Rupp, defenseman, was still around at the time. But they were trying like Gary Unger, Jim McKinney, Jean-Paul Parise, Duke Harris, Andre Hensey, Daryl Sly. So they're trying like different players left and right. And Paul Henderson, too, was newly joined the system after playing several years with the Red Wings. So they were giving Henderson a big chance to be Toronto's third scorer or third heavy scorer on the squad, which he did. And it's kind of weird about hockey, though, when players as talented as some are never make it besides a 5-game cup of coffee in the NHL. But in the WHA, more than fine, because Toronto Toros used to run 4 lines and score a lot of goals. And that's what Martin did. He was that good third liner that could score 20 goals, and every championship team or championship contender needs a Tom Martin. Have a good day. Bye.